For in movement, we bring excitement to the energy fields of us. What is identity? Identity evokes, invokes, provokes an awareness of form and motion. Identity is a strength to do a craft, to do artistry, to do service in a field of particles in motion. For motion is eternal. The gift of motion allows movement to be seen in you. I come here again to celebrate with the identity of all of you, connecting the depth of clarity that co-creating with Spirit is. For you all are here to be clear in your movement. For as you move, that action expresses your highest priority at that moment. Movement is a celebration of all of you. All of you in movement. No matter how you are perceived, how you are identified, how you are judged, you are moving. Your movement is always to love and light. When you speak of wrong, of failures, of bad, this is a movement to love and light. For in understanding a step that you have taken is to understand your priority of you moving in love or in fear. Each step is an accumulation of you to create that movement, to create that identity. For you came knowing the identities of this time that could be put casually upon you, strategically upon you, or pointed upon you. You came to work in and move in certain identities of your time, to feel movement in a way of creating separation and space, or to have movement be your extension of love. No identity that your world gives you is your truth. You have put it on to help evolve your vocabulary of each other. Words are in motion. They move your structure of beingness. A word from one century to another has evolved or been lost. For these structures of you to identify your landscape changes because you, dear ones, are always moving. Your momentum to clearly create identities of beauty, of oneness, of integrity, openness, to celebrate the God principles of one, shapes your vocabulary to also judge in duality. The game of separation. Your world feels safe to identify and belong, to put on an identity so then you can participate in a conversation with those around you. It's so much fun to be part of a group than to be left behind. For together, movement is greater. The extension is fuller. And life feels bigger. And yet, in choosing identities of you, you are aware on a deep unconscious level that the moment you put on an identity, there feels separation. And in your core, to become separate is the feeling of falling from grace. Falling from this oneness that you all communicate on. For in oneness, you are all together. Passing information. So one person in one part of your world can have the exact idea as another in another part of the world. Because your communication is oneness. Whether you all communicate to be part of that oneness, even if on words, within your identities, you are creating spaces of separation. Movement into your divine spark is moving in and feeling beyond your physical awareness to fully be in the communication of oneness and the clarity of strength. For oneness is eternal, and that grace to be eternal is your core truth of home. Movement for much humans is figuring out a timeline and being true to this timeline to feel successful. Doing all the parts within your timeline. Moving in a line to show success. Because in linear thinking, success then is part of identifying with specific intervals of being. Again, time is not linear. And so if we take away movement from a linear space, you get to dance with your spark, to light your journey of you and your holy purpose here. Spirit flows circular. And a lot of times when you're first tuning in to the greater beyond, the holiness of oneness and spirit, you feel very dizzy. It can make you sick physically, because your bodies crave a linear motion. The way you stand upright makes movement forward your only perceived path. Your eyes don't twirl around your head. So your perception is a very straight forward movement. This linear thought creates your game of your will be done. And the linear motion and movement causes much strain and aging upon your body. For the fight to stay ahead of another is the will to survive. And the placement that then, because you cannot see behind you, that you do feel separate. Spirit, as it swirls around all there is, the motion of movement is a swaying of circular placements. Helps you to use your intuition to fully feel oneness and to move deeply into your spark. The spark of celebrating your wholeness in becoming the light that reflects and shines your love and beauty and profound oneness in all of you. Dance is a critical movement to spark you to see your light and know that you are partnering with all of the particles around you. Dance is knowing you are a note. And you are holding that vibrational space to move in to the full expression of your vibration that holds the harmonics, the knowledge of perfection, perfect love for you and all that is around you. You were moving. You were being rocked. You were born in a womb that facilitated movement. This holy movement is the remembrance that you are not a linear being marching in a narrow line. This movement was all around you. Before you were born, you were seated with your divine purpose. You were rocked in this remembrance as you were rocked in the womb of your beginnings. If you have doubts on your walk, your dance, your movement in your holy purpose, give yourself permission to rock. Get a rocking chair and just rock. And hold that womb around you. And feel your divine spark that you are here to be. Sitting is not good for your bodies. Sitting creates a safe safety net for you. For in sitting, you have given others a great placement that you are safe. Your bodies have been moved from the beginning. You were created in movement. And so as you do your purpose, you naturally move to the dance. It isn't tiring to do. For that spark of memory, that spark of moving and knowing your purpose is the depth of nourishment. Your soul needs to be energized in your world, the bodies. So often, you bring others to just sit and to learn. And this at times causes forgetfulness in a purpose that that person has come to be. More and more, your world is asking your children not to move, but to sit and participate with structure that is linear. Slowly dimming their spark of purpose. And if a child rebels and wants to move in a classroom, in a car, in a grocery cart, that is instantly stopped and identified as bad. And that deadens, diminishes that child's divine purpose of knowing movement is the most critical thing to provide the depth of sharing they came to do with their purpose. There is no prettiness in movement until you finally hit your divine spark and purpose. At first, you're going to step on everyone's feet as you're learning your dance and your movement. And that's okay. It's okay to step on the lines or to blur the lines. For in that action, you are stating to yourself that maybe your purpose is outside of an identity that you have thought for yourself. And exploring again these words that hold such heaviness or responsibility, because it makes that linear placement of you spellbound to be put in check. How often, once you have an identity it's really hard to erase it. And was that identity yours if you are here to move beyond the boxes, to be a teacher of evolution, of being extended, and awe that you came to claim. You are all heroes here right now, for you are outside of your identities that you were born into. You should celebrate that core of expressing your truest placement and holding the communication of oneness. For you could not hear my message if you didn't step out of the box and say, I believe there's more to me than just marching in the identities that were presented to me. As I learned to move my physical holy temple into the adult that I am, that I have stepped on people's feet, on society's feet. And I know that in stepping outside of my linear line of my will be done, I have more movement to celebrate all of me with in claiming my spark, my true identity of being in love with me and the oneness. Spark. Creating spark in your life is to feel passion, is to know that you cannot sit and be the good student of other wills be done. Spark is to say, my movement is my priority, my holy statement of my identity, and sharing the depth of oneness with all that is around me. Your spark, your passion ignites your cells to fully become that reaction of your core essence, your physical core essence of thriving in this landscape that you have. Your movement is your priority and should only always be your priority. For if you are clear and you are moving in the dance with the whole spirit. Your movement is always your highest and best. Perception of your highest and best will always have judgment. For getting off the linear line makes you look different and separate. But when you dance, movement is never separate. For all your energy fields are already celebrating with one another. Bodies might look separate, but never your energy fields. Movement in your divine spark is because something got lit within your cells, a memory that shouted out to be brought forward and extended to really spark and light the world around you. You have the treasure of you within you, and your cells know this treasure as you find what is sparking your movement in love. For it's easy to just move with the line. That motion is really strong because it is a motion that you all perceive as a way of getting from A to B. You drive on roads that hold lanes that you must stay in. Otherwise, great accidents occur. To step out of that lane will cause you great grief, great sadness, great guilt. And many, when you fall from grace, you fell off of the lane that you were conditioned to do. Because falling off a lane of linear motion and thy will be done is one of the greatest gifts for your soul to remember of your divine purpose here. Many times, ones who fall from grace or fall off of their linear placement forward for success. And you all have been conditioned in what is your linear line of success from people before you, teachers, parents. The government has its willingness for you to keep in a straight line. Churches, society structures. When you fall from grace, your worst fear is known. For if you fall off of that linear path, that movement into co-creating with Spirit, with you really dancing with Spirit beyond conditions. That movement is one where all your resources go away. The vast unknown is upon you. And this is the promise of hell. If you fall from grace, that you will have no resources. That you must live in the darkness. Yet, they don't tell you that you get your spark back when you fall from grace. Your true spark of how you are to move in this world beyond conditions. How you are to know the full communication, your full intuition of Spirit. For you to know that your spark lights you to resources that you never knew were available to you. That you have the parachute to actually spark so much that you become a star in the sky of conditioning to help others fall from grace. Fall from doing others' wills be done into really knowing your core. That when you're on your spark, your divine passion, your core of your truth, that win-win situations are, that harmony resonates in everything you do. The universe is generous and kind and good. And that you fell to know that hell is not. For you spark too brightly to ever live in darkness. Motion. Motion. Motion within the fullness of you. Moving in and around, expanding wide and coming in, is you to live and move beyond whatever identity was yours. As you were learning to dance with all of you, your spark is your life light to move to resources beyond what you were conditioned to know. That spark provides you to say yes to an opportunity that you would have never thought you would embrace, but feels so right that yes sets the momentum, sets the movement for your spark to become the star attraction of bringing in your holy value, of participating in a space that responds to light. All of you have fallen from grace because the identities that were conditioned became roads, became lanes, became a narrow placement of you. You sparked and are enriching each other and the world around you as you claim passion to present love and wholeness. You are lights that others follow. Your light is evolving the language and identities around you. Your focus of intention is bringing attention to you. For others are wanting your spark. And as you hold the clarity of that spark, the vibrancy of fellowship, the vibrancy of resources, the vibrancy of connecting in and being the light is then your service to all. And this does not take any energy, for the spark of sharing that momentum of love, of light, is the eternal movement of celebrating and extending you as the holy creator. You as the sons and daughters, you as the oneness of absolute love. Each moment, sparks are happening. You are the momentum, the movement into harmony and peace. You are the vivid placement that love can and always will be the celebration